This is Fleur Skybloom soap. It smells like a fresh, true floral orange blossom. It's great. It's really great. It's really popular. It's a pretty simple design. It's just orange soap, green swirl, and then I pipe in oranges with that big round piping tip. This is another example of going from my small mold to my big mold. So I had to guesstimate a little bit what amounts to put in the piping bags, what colorant to use, etc. After I do the oranges, I, I feel like this helps. Maybe it doesn't. I just like to flatten that little pointy tip that's left from piping. I've tried different ways to do this. I've tried using my finger. I've tried using a popsicle stick. I've tried using a spoon. Believe it or not, the pointy end of a skewer was the best way to do it. Then I just come in and do little green leaves. I like this leaf piping tip a lot. It's so cute, and it's as long as you go fast enough, it's just perfect. I remember thinking to myself that the soap was at a perfect piping consistency, and it was just fun. It was a treat to use. Usually it's a hassle, but this one wasn't. I did end up making a note to myself to use less overall again in the piping bags, because I do like this one to have a little bit more room to breathe, and because I am hell-bent on using any little bit of soap in the bag, this does get a little busy, in my opinion anyway. And the last thing I do for this soap, once I've used up all the green, of course, is I take a white mica. It doesn't really matter to me which one it is. It's whatever I can pick up. This time I happen to use something called Velvet Pearl Mica from Nurture Soap. And I don't measure it, I just kind of eyeball it. I just put some in a little cup. This is 91% isopropyl alcohol. I don't know why I didn't just mix it with the paintbrush, but anyway, I mixed it with a popsicle stick. And then I just go in and put little white dots. And this is kind of why I like to have a little bit more open space. It makes this easier and it makes it a little bit cuter. It looks a little like more kitschy. It depends how much you're painting. This dries super fast because it's 91% alcohol. Sometimes you have to go in and add a little bit to your mica or make a second batch. But I had a very little open space and I worked fast enough. And this is how it ended up. It looks really cute. This is a really cute soap and I enjoy making it a lot. So this is 2 days later, and in my opinion this did come out pretty pale. I attribute that to, well, for right now, for two things. I will use a little bit more colorant next time, but also I have to have my ring light really bright because the camera I use to film is pretty old. Well, in terms of camera age, I think it's almost 10 years old. So if I don't have the light up really bright, it just won't have it. These do end up a little bit darker. You see with this one, it just lifts right off after I split it. So that's why that other one was so strange to me. I was trying to find a link for this shop that makes these cutters to put in my description, but I don't know if they're available anymore. He used to have an Etsy shop, but that's closed, or it's be back later kind of deal. In the Etsy description, it sends you to a website, but the website's not active either. So I don't know, maybe you just can't get this cutter right now. It's a shame. It's a great cutter. I would highly recommend it. And if you look, other soap people more or less have the same cutter because it's so good. So again, this does look really pale. And it is paler than the product photo because the product photo uses a darker one I've done. And that'll show up at the very end of the video. But it's not quite as pale as it appears in this video. And the last thing I show you here is I pick up one of the soap butts and kind of rub the mica spot to show you what happens. It will come right off. So if you're curious and you were wanting to do elaborate paintings with mica, you can, but it does smudge pretty easily. So that's it for Diviner Fleur Skybloom Orange Blossom Soap. And this should be available, I, I think it's May 6th, but it's our early May restock. So I hope to see you then. Thank you.